Hey everyone, and welcome back to more political chatter. In this video, we will be talking about how Donald Trump may have his best chances in the 2024 election right now. So yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago, I covered how Joe Biden is now he hit his lowest approval rating ever in his presidency, which is just an awful sign through and through. There's no painting it a different way, because this is June of an election year. That should be an extreme worrying sign for the president. I mean, when you look at previous presidents, we always talk about how even Obama wasn't popular before the 2012 election. But you see he was 10 points more popular than Joe Biden is right now. And Barack Obama won re-election, but even Donald Trump, who lost re-election, was more popular this time around, in 2020. He was more popular, you see there, 40.8 to 37.6% to Joe Biden. You see that it hasn't been since George H.W. Bush. Well, even he, he fell under. But you see, the last president who was less popular than Joe Biden at this time in an election year in their term was George H.W. Bush in 1988, and I will mind you, he lost the election by a landslide. So Joe Biden is the least popular he has ever been right now in his presidency, and, that's awful for Joe Biden in this election year. You also see that in the Real Clear Politics average. You see that Donald Trump is at 2%, that in the five-way matchup, Trump, Biden, Kennedy, West, and Stein, and that is big, because when you look at June 11th in 2020, 4 years ago, Biden was ahead by 8.1%. Not to mention the 538 forecast, even though all of their polls, most of their polls that they include show Trump winning in basically all of the swing states. On average, they have Trump winning in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. However, in their forecast, they actually have Biden winning. But you can see how this is just April. So this is April 1st, not long ago at all. And you see that since then, Biden was, pretty heavily favored. He was projected to win near 300 electoral votes. He was over 300 at one point, 302. But since then, it has narrowed up dramatically. And today, Joe Biden is projected to win 276 electoral votes, Trump 262. Even when you look at the win probability, it's just as close. It's basically 50-50 when, Biden used to have a 60% chance of winning. So the forecast has been changing dramatically lately, and then Biden is getting more unpopular, and Donald Trump is just expanding on how he was doing dramatically back in 2020. He's doing 10.1% better in the RCP aggregate than he was in 2020. So that being said, Donald Trump is really in a spectacular place right now, because as I was talking about with the approval rating, we don't see it often when a president is this unpopular and he's able to hang on. I mean, just the simple fact, again, that Donald Trump was more popular than Joe Biden was right now. And I will mind you, June in 2020, this was during the midst of COVID. The economy was tanked, and still, Donald Trump, he was president then, and still, he is more popular. He was at this time 4 years ago more popular than Joe Biden is right now, the same time into their presidencies. And Trump lost re-election. So Biden being even less popular, his path to victory really is narrowing up, because, especially when you see that, nationwide, Trump is doing 10.1% better than he was in 2020. These are the same polls, the same pollsters, the same states that they're polling, the same amount of respondents from each state, basically, in 2020 and 2024. So nationwide, Trump is doing 10.1% better. Now, if that were to be the case, and I know it's not, because I think that Biden is really losing support in urban areas like New York City and Los Angeles and Chicago, but he is still going to win Illinois, California, and New York in the Electoral College, which is what matters. And, he's losing 10 or more percent there, but not so much in the swing states because of the good campaign that he's running. But if that were to happen, if Donald Trump were to do 10 points better in 2024 than he did in 2020, then we would see an absolute landslide. Of course, all of the states that he won by a safe or almost safe margin back in 2020, which is all of the states that I am characterizing now, would go to him by a safe margin once again. Oklahoma can't. I mean, these states were almost solid for him in 2020, so when he does 10% better in 2024, of course, they're going to stay, they're going to remain for him. Iowa and Ohio, he won them by 8 points in 2020. Of course, he is going to win them by a solid margin again. You see Texas, he won it by 5.6 in 2020. If he does 10 points better, he wins it by 15% plus. And then we get a little bit closer. You see that North Carolina, he now wins by 11.3%. Florida, he wins by 13.4%. So those are likely margin states for him. You see that in, let's go up to Maine's 2nd Congressional District. He wins by a likely margin, safe margin. And then you go into the Democratic territory. You go into states that Biden won in 2020. So Arizona, Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Biden won by less than a point. Donald Trump would be winning these by almost 10%, which are big likely margin victories. You go to even more Democratic states like Nevada, which Biden won by 2.4, or Michigan, he won by 2.8, or Pennsylvania, Biden won by 1.2. All of these states become likely Republican states as well. So Donald Trump is already well over the 270 electoral votes needed to win. And then you go into, pretty deep Democratic territory, like New Hampshire. Biden won by 7.4%. Or Minnesota, he won by 7.1%. Or Nebraska 2nd, he won by 6.6%. Or Maine, he won by 9%. So just taking these one at a time. New Hampshire, Donald Trump, doing 10 points better would win it by a lean margin. You see that in Maine at large. He does 10 points better. That'd be a 0.9% victory. I think that's a 0.9% victory. So that would make it a tilt state for Donald Trump. Trump wins Maine, which would really be astounding to see. In Minnesota, Donald Trump wins by a lean margin. Nebraska 2nd District, he wins by a lean margin. I mean, these are deeply Democratic states. Now you get into 2 Democratic states. New Mexico, Biden won by 10.1 in 2020. Virginia was 10.8, and then Virginia was 10.1. So both of these states are reduced to just a tilt margin for Joe Biden, and you would really have to defend these states, and that's leaving money. That's diverting resources and money and time from other more important states that would be important in regular elections. Then we have Colorado, who won by 3.5. That's just reduced to a lean margin victory for him there. And then you go into our deep Democratic states like Illinois. Biden won by 17. That's reduced to a likely margin. You see that some states would remain safe, but Delaware, that goes likely. New Jersey, that's only reduced to a 6-point win. Connecticut, that's likely. Rhode Island is likely. Massachusetts is not likely. New York is likely, so we can start characterizing these states. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. New York. And then we have Maryland. I doubt, some of these states are just too Democratic to flip or to even become likely, which is insane to think about, even in a 10-point, benefit for Donald Trump in 2024. That's Vermont, Massachusetts, Maryland, and D.C. And then we have Maine's 1st District. That gets reduced to a likely margin victory. Hawaii is safe. And then we have the West Coast. California is reduced to a 19-point victory, but still safe margin. Oregon is just a 6-point victory, and Washington is a 9-point victory. So Washington and Oregon are likely, but California goes safe. So wow, look at all of that red. Donald Trump would win in a landslide with 329 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 209. So the point is, Donald Trump is heavily favored. We've got lowest approval ratings for Joe Biden throughout his presidency. We've got Donald Trump crushing it in the polls. He is doing 10% better. He has not ever, I don't think he has done this well, since well before the midterms, right? When he hadn't even announced his candidacy, so we can't even count those. But, he's got his important 2% victory in the popular vote, which is a small victory, but it's huge because of that 8.1% lead in the polls for Biden at this time in 2020. as well as the fact that Republicans just don't win the popular vote. So seeing the Republicans even win the popular vote in polls, even that is stunning to see, because polls favor Democrats in the popular vote, and Democrats do always win the popular vote. So that's so interesting. And then we have this forecast, which Biden has been able to expand on in the past couple of days. I don't know if that holds up. It's probably just by chance or something. But it's just about tied. And when, Biden used to be favored a lot more. And this is 538. They way overestimated Biden in 2020. They said Biden would win North Carolina. They said he would win Florida. And they said he would win Georgia, Arizona, and all the other swing states by quite a lot. They said that he would win Maine's 2nd district. I believe they said he was narrowly favored in Ohio, which he lost by 8. I could be wrong on that, though. So, 538 is now saying that, it used to be way Biden favored to win the election, and now it has narrowed up so much. So the point is, it really looks like Donald Trump has his best chance yet. So, that is, interesting to see in June. That Biden is doing this poorly. He definitely needs to step up his game if he wants a chance in this election. So thank you all for watching this video. I really hope you all enjoyed. It helps a lot if you subscribe, drop a comment, drop a like. And yeah, again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time.